Looks like it.
Yeah, I've got something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right on. All right, let me just share that. Let me share the post. So you're tagged in it, so it'll show up on your page. So let me share it to the group. And then we'll roll the show out in just a minute. And here, share the page. Here. All righty. Back here. There we go. All right, so we're live on Facebook. That is an accomplishment today. All right. Let me go in here and see, make sure everything's cool. I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can see the comment. Well, it must be the energy. At least we're on Facebook. I can't get on the phone. Let's see. I've got 15, 15, 15, and 15 on my phone. Messages, notifications, YouTube and Google. So that's a good stuff, right? Okay, here we go. All right. See what's happening. Yep. Got 23 people in the house. Hello, Primi Hogo, Sonia Nomo, Mary Iverson. I'm glad Facebook is working today too. Renee Morton, Jenna Levering from San Diego, David Gagnon, Finland, Daniel Michael from New York, and Sean Knight from Washington State. If these shows resonate with you, please share. I would appreciate it. And thank you all for your love and support and contributions to keep us going every day by the seat of our pants, but it doesn't matter. That's how the universe is working in this 5D. There's no guarantees. It's all about the day. Real happy to have start the day off. We got 3 shows today with somebody that I think is got a pretty good following. Duncan Alexander out of South Africa. Thank you for sharing space with us today and honoring us with your presence. Welcome to Soul Speaks 5D, Duncan.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
I got to tell you, and thank you for coming. I got to tell you, I don't know much about you. I saw an excellent post you did the other day. It had like 800 engagements on it. So I figured you people must know you better than I do. But I've heard a lot of good things about you from a couple of people. I say, a few things. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, have you been on this path a long time? Or when did you wake up?
So I had a big trigger awakening in 2015. But I would say that in 2013, it already started happening. And in 2013, so 2012, 2013, that's when the wheels came off. I was really resisting the awakening. So in 2012, 2013, that's when I really got heavily involved with substances. Mm-hmm. So it was heavy drinking and substances. And it really was a big dark night of the soul with a series of little dark nights of the soul in between. And that led me to a point in 2015. And I was sitting with this woman in this complex outside this house, in this garden area. And it really was one of my lowest, deepest, darkest moments where I was like a beaten dog. I was and felt completely annihilated.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, she turned her head to look at me and she said in these words, but when she said this, it wasn't her speaking to me.
Right.
She said in these words, don't you know who you are? And in that one moment, this energy came through her and hit me, and I fell back on the grass. And in that moment, I was just vibrating at this extremely high frequency. And like you put it, Todd, the best way I can describe it is a soulgasm. It was a moment where,
you
where I
watched
experienced. I watched plenty of your shows. So I experienced that soulgasm where I was just vibrating at this extremely high frequency. And in that moment, all of my depression, all of my worries, everything just disappeared. And that lasted for about 15, 20 minutes. And in that moment, this is what I also said to her in the moment. Obviously, ego still involved, very much involved. I said to her, am I Jesus Christ? Am I Christ? She kind of looked back to me with a blank stare, obviously meaning that I tapped into the Christ consciousness, that heightened state, that level of frequency. And in that moment, I knew, because I'd done a little bit of reading up on it prior to this moment, about light workers. So I knew I was a light worker. And I just thought in that moment, that sensation, that frequency, how can I go back to my normal job, knowing this now? And we discussed it a little bit, and it was just a case of carry on with life, go with the flow and see what happens. So that was my big trigger awakening. It was still a dark time. So I didn't immediately snap out of the darkness. It was still a process. But from that point, the going out, the substance abuse, those instances, moments became few and far between. And from that moment, that moment led me to connecting with another light worker, a shaman who facilitates ayahuasca ceremonies, who later on became a very good friend of mine. And he facilitated DMT, it's called Changa here, DMT experiences and ayahuasca. So the first one I ever had was a DMT experience with the Changa. And that was an outer body experience. That's where I experienced an ego death.
Yeah.
Before going into that ceremony, one of my other friends who was in the ceremony, who did it once before, told me times any substance or any trip you've ever been on by 1,000,000.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe him. So in that moment in the ceremony, I held the DMT, and within 5 seconds, it was an out-of-body experience. And I was in space above the world. I was seeing beings, an intelligence that was very difficult to comprehend, to take in all that information in that moment in time. It's only about a 10 to 15 minute trip. There are 3 rounds. And in that first trip, I experienced a lot. It was an ego death. I was panicking, trying to conceptualize what I was seeing and feeling in that moment. And what I came to realize, that I was on a ship in that moment overlooking the world, and there were beings I was interacting with, and I saw beings interacting with the people in the ceremony circle. So that was also a big trigger assistance in the awakening process and the amplification of my abilities moving forward, opening of the third eye, all in the darkness. And then it led to some more ayahuasca ceremonies, which were some beautiful experiences, which I could see led me to the understanding of soul agreements, soul contracts that we have with people. So the shaman, my friend who I met, we had a soul agreement to do this, and a beautiful experience I had in an ayahuasca ceremony. I asked to leave the space, and he said, sure. He walked outside with me, and in that moment, he was another being with light coats on his head, and he spun around like this. And in that moment when he was doing this, and there was a manji and light codes on his forehead where his third eye is. And then his body came into mine, and it was a moment of, I'm you, this moment of confusion, understanding that we soulmates, and we had an agreement that he came into my life during this dark time to assist me with teachings and with some codes, and we were working together. And there was a soul lesson. So that's when I first understood that soul contracts, soul agreements are real, and they're happening all the time. So that was my awakening, and it's been a process since that point.
So let me ask you, because one of the reasons we do this show is so we can help people who are awakening and expanding, like so many of us when this happened, many of us didn't have anyone to talk to, really. It took a little time. You thought you were crazy and all that stuff. Are you still participating in the DMT or the ayahuasca?
Not the last ayahuasca ceremony I had was a year ago. For me, it's about respecting the medicine, the plant medicine.
Yeah.
So when you get the message,
yeah,
when you've been given the gift of the acceleration kit, then hang up the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something I've heard from people. That's what happened to me. I was told you don't need to do this anymore. And I think there's people out there that don't need it. I guess it's a personal decision, but I think that's an important point to make. Each his own, but I've talked to enough people, they've been told you don't need to do this anymore, or they've known. The other thing I wanted to ask you about too, now the lady that you had to wake up with, was she aware of what she said to you?
I think after that point in time, that day, I remember discussing it with her, but it wasn't the same conversation.
Yeah.
From that moment, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do, and that's why I was
trying to get information out of her. What's just happened? What's going on? And she didn't say much. I know.
Yeah, I know because and I've heard a couple other people say it, but it happened to me several times, and I didn't know what was happening. And just again for people that are waking up or becoming more aware, because it's not just unique to me or you, but I've had both in messaging, this is years back, also in conversations, in person or on the phone, people would say stuff, and it wasn't them. It took me a while to figure that out, but I think that's another point to make. I really do. Now, as far as your own communication or communion with the universe, do you identify with anything in particular? Is there certain faces of the universe that are speaking to you, or you're channeling through galactic, angelic, divine essences, that type of thing?
Yeah, sure. So it's definitely multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
There are a lot of connections taking place at the same time. Although when I've asked whether who's predominant or who's coming through, Pleiadian, Syrian, Lyrans, Blue Avians, whoever it may be, is it the Christ consciousness? What's come forth is Christ consciousness, and that's what I work with. So yes, there are interactions. I'm sure that there are parallel lives with Pleiadian and Syrian, etc. But from what I'm getting is not to focus on that too much. What's come through is that I work with the Christ consciousness, Jesus, Yeshua. That's who I work with. And another master that I work with who has had a massive influence on my life is Saint Germain. So I've had interactions with him. But all in all, the Christ consciousness, that's the best way that I could put it.
Yeah. And you're a practitioner? You do energy work with people one-on-one?
Yes. So I have one-on-one sessions. So what I've done is, and Todd, we can have a conversation in a month, 3 months' time, and we can have a totally different conversation. During this process, there are activations happening, gifts are being unlocked all the time. So what I'm relaying on to my clients and people out there who require assistance is what I offer is a one-on-one session. Doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in the world. I have clients in the US and all over the world, here in South Africa, and we do a one-on-one Skype session, FaceTime session, where there is an energy exchange. And the people who've been coming to me have, funnily enough, been healers. A lot of them have been healers themselves. But they may be having some 3D challenges in relationships, and it's just someone to talk to. And the platform that I've laid out is from my life experience, and what I've challenged is substance abuse, depression, limiting beliefs, job dissatisfaction. And I would say the biggest one is, and where I come in, is assisting people with taking that leap of faith, or at least moving towards and covering their gift. What is their unique purpose in life? And those are the people that are coming through to me. So yeah, that's what I offer, and it's a one-on-one session. There's an energy exchange. Our higher selves work together in concert.
Yeah.
Every single client that I have, there's been an activation that has taken place on some level. Their dream state has been amplified. I often appear in their dream states, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from my clients at this stage. So right now, if you are struggling with substances, limiting beliefs, depression, job dissatisfaction, or you feel lost in life, or if you're in your early stages of your awakening process and there are a whole lot of symptoms going on and you think that you're going crazy, I'm here to assist with that. So what I've gotten is with a lot of your teachers on your show, Todd, very, very advanced masters, beings who are on your show. And at this point in time, I understand what they are saying. So it's how do I take that information, that energy, and relay that onto individuals who are early on in their awakening process, or maybe unawakened, who are about to step into their awakening process. So that's my communication style at this point in time.
Yeah, excellent. And what are your thoughts on what's happening right now? You know, collectively, people talk about the waves coming in, or the event, 3 Days of Darkness, masculine coming into balance with the feminine. You know, the false masculine leaving, sacred masculine rising.
Yeah, for sure. So everything that's being said, especially on your platform, resonates with me big time. And often a lot of my information as of 2 years ago will come through to me in my dream state. That way, obviously bypassing the ego.
Yeah.
And in my dream state, it's almost a gift of prophecy where my dream will manifest that next day, a week's time, all the way up to a year, where what's played out in the dream, what information has come through, will play out in this reality exactly how it's played out in the dream. So for me, everybody who's been on your show and who are teachers on your show is absolutely fantastic, and what they're saying resonates. What Jason Estes is talking about, the human resonance, and coming up to the 18th of May, where that will be a major breakthrough for people, is something that definitely resonates with me and what I have gotten. Where Amanda Lawrence talks about the gateways, especially her last video that she put out there in the Ascension Collective, us matching that frequency in order for us to gain access to the information coming through those gateways.
Yeah.
This information is coming through to me in the dream state prior to Amanda delivering her video. So that's something personally I can definitely confirm from my side, and that's something that resonates. And what I'm getting at the moment, Todd, is there really is a need for the divine masculine to step up and to rise and to come forth. There's so many awakened women out there.
Yeah.
And wherever you go, you're kind of thinking, where are the men at, you know?
Yeah.
But that's happening from clients that I'm seeing here in South Africa as well. I'm seeing on social media, people, the masculine, they're starting to speak their truth. They're getting up there, they're connecting with an audience. People that have come to see me here in person, their activations taking place. And I really am seeing that ripple effect throughout within the masculine. So it's happening. I don't know how long it's going to take and how quick this process is going to be, but it is happening. And I think you're huge in this, Todd, as a divine masculine, as a voice for the divine masculine out there, definitely. And I see that as my role moving forward as well, as I grow, as I'm learning on this side of the world, is to be an example, to get up there. And it's all about just speaking the truth.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I got to tell you that I hope it happens quicker too for myself. No, and I'm really enjoying talking to you this morning in the energies that I'm in, which I'm sure is present. And it's this transition, this letting go of the false masculine power, the imbalance, goes so deep, and it's so deeply embedded. You know, I had an excruciating episode last night, and it was just me in the universe. Morgan wasn't aware, and I saw how deep it went. I saw, you know, and I released a lot of stuff, and ultimately, like the triggers, I'm going to say, discovered shadows or discovered programming or conditioning, of course, lead to, you know, a higher expanded awareness and all that. But it's a bitch. And so I don't know any other way. To me, I mean, the feminine has, you know, and I'm blessed with, you know, a divine conscious union with a very, very awake woman who's been awake for many, many years. But I think at this point, the discussion between two masculine or more that are in the process of rising might be the best forum for activations for him, so we can speed this up. And I know everything is perfect in universal timing, but it's almost like a Rubik's cube to me. You know, it's I don't know. What are your thoughts on what he needs to do, what I need to do, what all of us need to do to find our way?
Sure. So, Todd, you're saying you've been triggered a little bit the last few days or weeks. So I've been the same. So I left the corporate world. It was the end of Feb, and there's quite an interesting story. I'll come back to it later.
Okay.
Where I met my twin flame in 2017 in the corporate world in my job, and a lot of what happened and what I've experienced in the dream state and information coincides with your story. Whenever you speak about yourself and Morgan, there's a connection. So you speaking about it really helped me. So since March, I left that organization until now, and I've been in a place of solitude, and I'm getting triggered. There's still some dark stuff, still shadow coming up for me to face. And the only advice I can give, and when I'm speaking now, I'm speaking to myself as well, is just to trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process, surrender.
Yeah.
Allow what is to be.
Yeah.
All is happening perfectly. So if the masculine, if the feminine need to just take some time for self-love, self-care, little time to themselves. It's removing yourself from external influences, energies that may be hindering your process, just to go into a place of calmness, solitude, even if it's for 10 minutes a day, and just to connect with your heart space, to go within, tap into that intuition and just trust the process, surrender and allow what is to be.
Yeah. I've done a lot of surrendering the last 2 mornings, you know, laying in bed alone. It's been trippy, you know, the release, you know, it's so strange because I feel the human is the hero. I feel the physicality is not to be overlooked. I've now experienced with Morgan, as I've talked about, we're going to talk about this, I think, very soon, physical herioscamos on 3 or 4 occasions, which have been incredible. They're still part, you know, of the physical man that it's strange because part of the physicality, as I see it, as my experience has been, has to be released and left. And I felt a serious ego death last night. But on the other hand, trusting that process and surrendering has allowed for these incredible herioscamos experiences in the physical. It's just left me in a state of surrender, slight confusion, raw, tender, and my heart is, I feel like my heart's got like a vice just ripping it open. So that feels very strange, but I know it's good. So I would love to help our brothers, and by virtue of that, our sisters and the whole collective. I don't really know what to do, but just to keep going.
100%. 100%. And Todd, what you say you've been experiencing the last 2 days, especially for me to get out of bed, it's been a bit of a mission. So I myself, it's that depression has kicked in. The fear, it has kicked in. It's been turbulent the last 3 months. This time in Soulogy, it has been turbulent. Some beautiful highs, and there's some low moments. But what I've discovered in my process is that whenever there's a trigger or there's one of those low moments, there is a massive breakthrough right there.
Sure.
On the other side, just by surrendering and accepting and pushing through that, just trusting it, just trusting the process. There's a breakthrough, and then something beautiful comes along my path.
Yeah.
It's a case of, I'm getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. It's just that pause between, and I don't think mine's not really been triggers. It's been more of like, well, an expanded awareness comes in. And it's not like, oh, wow, this is cool. It's more like, oh, shit. But but it's nice to be able to talk to another man face to face about it, because it is happening. And I'm glad you said that the last 2 days have been a challenge to get up. I mean, I've actually gotten up and then had to go lay back down, and experienced some some moments in this, I would just call it a meditation of emotion, and also flashes of that, you might call it the Christ consciousness energy, Heliosgamus energy, somewhat soulgasmic, but nothing remains, everything just goes from one thing to another, like a change of pace. First you're doing this, and then that, and then this, and then that. And then you go out and function. So I guess what I would say, and I'm just saying it from the chair I sit in an attempt to help myself and all of our brothers, is to just, maybe it's a good idea just to be open and honest with at least one person, and if not, just the universe, if that's all you can do, because these are new feelings. It's a new way, and it's deep. I vomited last night. I cried last night.
What?
Yeah.
No, I went outside and I purged. I vomited in the garden last night.
Yeah, I did. I did, and then I had a beautiful space with Morgan after it was over. And I woke up this morning just feeling like what I just said. All I can do is just keep going, speak the truth, find that truth in myself, because what I'm finding is that I don't even know the full truth of the sacred masking. And the only way I can get there is to continue to surrender and to let go of everything I thought a man was. And that's not a cliche. If for me, there's no way I can even say that without feeling a rumble in my heart, tears well up in my eyes. I know it's good, it feels good, but it hurts it hurts too. It's confusing. But I do feel like I'm making progress, and I do feel like we're all making progress. And I do think the masculine is being seen in a different light more and more every day.
Definitely, 100%. 100%. And a lot from my side with the masculine, yeah, the only thing that you would say, if you could say, holding them back, us back, is just that fear of letting go.
Yeah.
Letting go. When 3 months ago, I had to make the decision to walk away from the love of my life in there, to leave all those people behind. Not that they're bad or it's not for me on my path. And it is a big step. It's a big step. You're leaving everything that you once knew, that you thought you were, and you start transforming into a completely different being.
Yeah.
It's it's not easy. So there is empathy, there is understanding, there is compassion for all those men out there and the women out there who are going through this process. Yeah, you guys aren't alone. You aren't alone. There are many of us going through this.
Yeah.
But with knowingness, I can say, oh, it's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
It is. Yeah. And I think the fact that it's happened these last couple of days with you and me, and that you purged last night, so we were definitely on the same wavelength. But during this time, I think the 15th marked solar winds, GMEs, or whatever you call that. I don't know all the nomenclature, but and then the purge ending on the 18th. I just feel like today's the 16th, and I feel like I want to run as hard as I can, whatever that takes. Not just these next 2 or 3 days until the 18th is over and the full moon comes, which but after that. But I really want to make an effort to do that. I feel like the energies are supporting us. We can pretty much peek into our own Akashic or whatever you want to call it, and pull anything out there if we have the desire to do it. So it's an important time, not just for the masculine, but for all of us these next 2 or 3 days. I feel that. You had made a reference to a story you wanted to come back to.
Yes, so it's to do with my beloved, my twin flame, who I met in 2017 at work. And wow, so there were many activations that took place, some big triggering, your divine mirror. And it just reinforces how important this platform is, Todd, and the work that you're doing. So when I left, there was a lot that obviously happened. There were activations, energy sharing. It was a roller coaster, and the soul merge process has begun. But I've had to learn to let go, completely let go, and allow for both of us, the caterpillar, to transform into the butterfly. And it doesn't help me going there, and while the butterfly's in the cocoon, gaining its strength from breaking free, trying to rip open the cocoon. So I'm still learning a big lesson of letting go. So I came across one of your lives 2-3 months ago, and you were talking about a moment with yourself and Morgan, and the codes lighting up.
Yeah.
The chakras lighting up in the codes, and when she turned over, the Kundalini rising, or the water from the back. So I had a dream of that exact representation with my twin a year ago.
Yeah.
So then I came onto your platform just to see what was going on, and what's being said and what's being delivered here really changed my life. It's that support, that confirmation, because during this process you think you're going crazy sometimes. So just a big thank you, Todd. You, without knowing it, probably have been a big influence on my life the last 3 months, and all these teachers on this show. And it's that higher intelligence coming through, aligning with the information that I'm getting, that just really reinforces everything and assists me moving forward.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that it's important to note, and I think that's why there's such a strong desire from my own heart, and I know this is not just about me. This has got to be the masculine energy making this conversion, which we're talking about. So Soulogy, in my own situation, and I think there's a pattern out there that reflects this, is where the feminine is the receiver. The feminine has the intuition. You can say it a lot of different ways. I wouldn't be here. I'm a copy, a reflection, micro, macro. We're in, Morgan told me a long time ago when I met her, she received early on, we're going from duality to the Trinity. And I think that's, what's happening. We're all reflections of that, regardless of the physical incarnation's gender. We have a beautiful man on yesterday, Michael James Garber, his partner Ron. They're in a divine conscious union. They're experiencing Helioscomus. They've created the third energy. As Morgan and I have created the third energy with Soulogy. I think what I'm trying to say is I believe, at least from my own perspective, that I want to sprint. I want to make this happen, and it's for her. Now, I have a female incarnation in my life that represents the divine feminine. But I think this is where the masculine energy is right now. It's finding its heart, its muse, its motivator is that feminine energy, and it wants it. And I think that's what brings some of the pain, because you're like, how the hell do I get there? But at the same time, I think we are getting there, and we do need to give ourselves some credit, all of us. All of us that walk the earth. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you for letting me say that.
Fantastic. Also for me, every individual, so every divine masculine, divine feminine, as an individual, accountability, taking responsibility, knowing that everything that they are doing is having an effect on the collective. For me, that's a great motivator. Knowing that everything that I'm doing is having some sort of effect on some sort of a level with the collective, has a ripple effect. So we're all working together here.
Yeah.
And each and every person steps up at a time. That's an amplifier.
Yeah. Somebody was on yesterday, and I can't remember which one it was of the three. And they were talking about going up to the ships and how they had recollection of it, as many do. And how they were told that they weren't allowed to remember everything. You talk about people that you work with and you come up in their dreams. I've heard the same. Morgan gets the same from others, and I'm sure many people do. So that cosmic web is pulling tighter, becoming more clear. We had a message come in last week or whatever, that the higher selves were very happy that we were hearing them and basically implementing their wishes, I guess is how I'd put it. So I think it is pulling tighter. The human is the hero. It takes guts, it takes courage, and for the men, that heart space is a place, and I'm saying it for myself, that as sensitive or as heart-based as I might have been, it's still very, very new. It's a place I didn't even know existed. So, but I do think that the web's pulling tighter, and talking like this consciously is very activating for all of us. Yeah, really is. Do you have any? You've quit your corporate job. Do you have any plans as to what you want to do? You're expanding your practitionership. You do anything with groups or anything like that?
So at this stage, it's just one-on-one sessions. So months before I left my corporate job, I was told, okay, it's time. Leap of faith, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. We're going to squeeze you out of there. So for the last 3 months, I've been doing the one-on-one sessions, and that's kind of what I'm doing at this point in time. There can be a lot of changes moving forward, as I've discussed. I may be doing group sessions. Just by you saying that is invoking something in me to get that going. So for now, it's just one-on-one sessions. But yeah, group sessions, that'll definitely be a player moving along. So the last 3 months in solitude, there has been a lot of purging. It has been a bit bumpy. So I want to give my clients my full attention. So I'm also just pacing myself, because there's a lot going on, obviously, with the unlocking of the gifts and the awareness and what I'm seeing. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, just slow down a little.
Yeah. Jennifer Ray was on yesterday, and she was talking about she had a she had a soulgasm, whatever you want to call it, by herself, solo heroes, whatever you want to call it. And she was offered to go into a couple of portals, and said, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But that's a good point. Let me ask you, what do you do when, like the last couple of days, what do you do when you get to the point of purging, or the energies are so powerful, or somebody triggers you? How do you, on a personal level, get through that?
Sure. Well, for the purge that I had, if I need to vomit, I'll vomit, get that energy out.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna purge, then purge properly.
Just stick your finger. Yeah, I finally realized that, because I don't like to do that. I had a long history, about 35 years. I'd go into seizures every time I got nauseated and was going to vomit. But I've conquered that now. So last night I was like, F this, and I just stuck my finger down my throat and got it over with. Then I went outside and took a walk. I was like, all right. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then otherwise, if I'm in those, I get into that place. I do an energy clearing meditation that I have. And then just in 5 minutes, immediately I shift out of that space, or at least I'm a lot better. I'm vibrating a high frequency, and I'm able to clear that energy. So I just go for 5-10 minutes, do an energy clearing meditation, and then I'm back on track.
And do you have a specific one you do, or do you improvise it every time? Is it something new every time?
I have a specific one that I use that I like to use.
Yeah.
It works wonders for me. It's also one that I offer to my clients, and it's working for them. It's actually one of the channels out there, Cassidy Kane. Who's a clear channel for spirit, assisting twin flames coming together and sacred union. And it's one of her energy clearing meditations that I came across, and that's what I use. And it's absolutely fantastic.
So it's something that's available out there publicly then?
It is available out there, and it's for free. So it's Twin Flames 1111, and the lady's name is Cassidy Kane. She's in union with her twin flame, and she does energy forecasts on a weekly basis, and you can subscribe to it. Yeah. And then you go in and download the meditation. They're two for free. One's a twin flame connection tool, and the other one is an energy clearing tool. I use the energy clearing tool.
So can you just kind of give us an overview of the energy clearing meditation?
Sure. You want me to take you through it?
Yeah, let's go through it. I could use some energy. I could use some energy clearing. I don't know about the audience.
Okay. Sure. So this will be about 7.5 minutes, roughly, plus minus. So when you're doing it yourself, you can speed it up to 5 minutes if you want. You can carry on for 10 minutes, really up to you with what you're comfortable with. Okay, so close your eyes. And now we're going to take in 3 deep breaths through the nose into the diaphragm. Now imagine directly above your head, about 50 yards in the sky, a golden ball of light. Now imagine from this golden ball of light in the sky, a beam of liquid light falling down from this ball of golden light, all the way down until it makes contact with the top of your head, your crown chakra. And imagine the golden light moving further and further down your face, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, down through your hips, all the way down through your legs, moving through the bottom of your feet, down into the earth, all the way down until making contact with the light conscious place there. Now imagine this beam of light from the center of the earth bouncing back up, moving all the way up the earth, making contact with the bottom of your feet, moving up through your legs, your hips, and making contact with your heart space. The brightest golden light now amplified from your heart space, and you are now connected from the light above and below. Now imagine from the center of your chest and your heart space, this golden light, the size of a baseball, growing bigger and bigger until it's covering your entire body. Getting bigger and bigger, now encompassing the room that you're in. And while I'm speaking, just continue breathing normally through your nose into your diaphragm, like you would breathe normally. The light getting bigger and bigger, encompassing the house or property that you're in. Now the city or state that you're in. Now the country you're in. Now the continent you are in. Now the light covering and encompassing the entire planet. Now bring your hands together in the praying position, right directly in front of your heart space. And rub your hands together and imagine drawing in all the positive high frequency energies into the palm of your hands. Now place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right hand. And imagine transferring this light frequency, these higher vibrations, the unconditional love into your heart space. Now with this, imagine high vibrational light codes, energies, waves of light fields in bubbles, moving through and over your body with every heartbeat. And you can, wherever you are in the world, repeat after me or in your mind, just listen to my voice. I love myself. I give myself permission to be happy. Anywhere I have been running old programming that has been keeping me in lack and negativity, I now let it go. Anywhere I may have been subconsciously blocking myself from connecting with divine love, my higher self and guidance team, out of fear, anger, or shame, I now let go for good. I am now open to giving and receiving love freely. Now imagine the waves of energy changing in color, representing each of the chakras. First wave coming through with beautiful, positive, red energy, washing away all that no longer serves you. Now an orange wave. Now a yellow wave. A green wave. A blue wave. A purple wave. And now including and encompassing the 8th, 9th, and 10th chakras. Imagine a pink wave moving through, around, all over your body and shooting up to the heavens. Now a gold wave. And finally, a platinum wave. Know now in this moment that anything of a low vibration causing resistance in your being has been washed away, has been transmuted, and is no longer a hindrance in allowing the energy of the higher frequencies of the lightness in life, of everything that you are, to hinder you in any way. You have now shifted and are operating from an entirely new frequency altogether. What has been removed no longer exists. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you.
So that's quite a nice one that I use, whether you're thinking about your divine counterpart or not. It's all to do with an energy clearing.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm shifted into a higher frequency. And that heaviness is gone.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm not a real conformist when it comes to it. But I used to do one like that. I never thought of it as clearing. I would just, the first part of it, where you take your essence and then you expand it to the room and then to the house. And I used to do that quite a bit. I never looked at it as a clearing though. But I guess it was in some way. It was definitely a grounding mechanism. There's no doubt. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for that. So where can people find you? How can they get in touch with you? I'm sure you're going to get quite a few messages. That's usually what happens.
Okay, great. So I have a Facebook services page linked to my Facebook page. That's where you can contact me. So either on my Facebook personal page, I don't know how many friends I've left there, but either way, just drop me a message. I'm very responsive. I will get back to you. So yeah, through my Facebook services page, it's also called Duncan Alexander, same as my profile name. You can like and follow that, and you can inbox me and I'll immediately get it and I'll be able to respond. So there isn't a website at this stage, but that will be in the works, I'm sure, pretty soon in the near future. So at this stage, yes, on Facebook. Yeah. And I look forward to connecting whoever comes through.
Yeah. Well, don't sweat the website. We're still working on ours. So,
it can be a monster. That's the thing. Yeah, it can take a while.
Yeah. That's one of those things, though, that, it's been tough to let go of. And again, it's like it's a paradox, this masculine thing. You got to give this up. You're used to the doer, you know what I mean? The action taker. Yeah, you got to give it up.
Yes.
The control, but at the same time, we're to create. It's just a different language. And, yeah, I feel like the last couple of days, a lot of this divine, or a lot of this masculine energies, collectively, I think it must be, at least becomes available to transmute, transform, and like this meditation, remove these things that don't define us and no longer exist. And I think it's synchronistic, this show today. It's helped me a lot. I'm going to say thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll be back with a couple more shows today. I can't remember who it is. Oh, Patrick McCormick. Patrick McCormick, I'm sorry, and Courtney Beck. And I haven't met Patrick before, so I'm sure that's going to be interesting. And Courtney's been on a couple times. She's very powerful. Duncan, I really would love to collaborate with you. Again, I really would.
No, I'd love that, Todd. I'd absolutely love that. There is one more quick one I can show you quickly. A form of energy clearing. If you want to call forth Saint Germain, call on the violet consuming flame. And a very short affirmation while you're in that state, imagining yourself in a tube of the violet flame, is I am the violet consuming flame in action, dissolving and consuming anything less than perfection in my mind, in my body, and in my world. And so it is.
So it is. I like
nice
that.
Quick one.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. You take care. See you again in the near future, I hope. And I'll reach out to you, and Morgan will reach out to you. Take care.
Thanks very much, Todd. Appreciate it. Cheers. Bye-bye.